Hello and welcome to Our Family, which we're delighted to bring to you in association with students from Buxton University.
Our Family is our new show where we look at stories around the club that show how the Watford family spreads far and away from the pitch.
This month we're celebrating the forthcoming third birthday of the club's sensory room.
We'll hear from Disability Access Officer Dave Messenger, who gives us the lowdown on the continued success of the sensory room.
And we pop into the Extra Time project, run by the Watford FC Community Sports and Education Trust, which now operates from the room as well.
Plus, we will be joined here in the studio by Hannah Foster, Older Adults Projects Officer for the Trust, to talk more about Extra Time and the Golden Memories project.
Well, before we get going, we must just mention our under-12s. Last month, we showed them speaking to you at the Sheffield United game about the Premier League Christmas Truce project they were taking part in.
Well, it is congratulations to them. We are delighted to say they won the competition and will be heading out to Belgium soon to compete with other clubs in the Premier League Christmas Truce Trophy as their prize. So we do wish them well and hope to bring you more on that next month.
Got your ticket yet for that?
No.
Sure, it's in the post, yes. Anyway, time for our first of two visits now, though, to the sensory room this month. Before we meet Hannah Foster here in the studio, she talks us through the Extra Time project.
Now, in terms of the sensory room, we use it for people with dementia as well. We've set up a programme called Golden Memories, which we're using it as a reminiscence project for people with low to moderate dementia who come in here and can reminisce about their old times, their old fans of the club. So it's very beneficial, and the carers are part of that project as well, so we provide support for them as well. So that's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as well as Thursday having extra time, and then obviously match days it's used for children with autism. So it's an incredible resource for the club. It's absolutely phenomenal. We've been using it since August for the last 5 months for 2 programmes for people with dementia, and we've only just recently, since September, been using it for Extra Time for the social group. Extra Time has been running for nearly 11 years, and it's used different rooms within the club, but now we're obviously using it in the sensory room. But it's absolutely incredible, it really is. There's a real sense when you come in here of friendship, and people really mix and make new friends.
Well, you're meeting friends, it's social contact, and we enjoy ourselves mainly.
Company, meeting people, having a cup of tea and a biscuit and all.
We have exercise here, we have dance, we have arts and crafts, we have the board games, bowls upstairs. Bowls is brilliant, there's a great team of people playing bowls, which they absolutely love. We do trips out as well. We did a trip to Stratford-upon-Avon this summer. We had 50 of our members come, which was so much fun. They really, really loved it. We have trips to the beach as well. We have raffles every other week.
Yeah, we have over 55s, they come in, they socialise with each other, play games. Often we have someone come in to do exercise. We have either in a gym or dance, and they generally have some chair-based exercise, but also do a little bit of standing up as well. We regularly have someone come in to do craft with them, and upstairs we have the bowlers who often hear loud shouts throughout there when they get really into their games. People can just come every week if they can and meet up with a huge load of their friends.
It's really a community, it's really a family feel, which is what we've been trying to create, really, so that when people come into Golden Memories, that they're kind of emulating the fan experience, that anticipation, that excitement about coming into a football club, and then we want them to go home just as if Watford had won, really, so having an amazing experience here in the sensory room.
Well, we are delighted to be joined in the studio now by Hannah, the Older Adults Projects Officer for the Trust, which is a mouthful, I will say.
It is a mouthful. I'm glad you had that, not me.
Thank you.
Hannah, welcome. Tell us a little bit more about what your role consists of.
Okay, so I work for the Watford Football Club Community Trust, and I run the projects for older adults. So we have Extra Time, which you've just seen on the film, which is a kind of social inclusion project for older adults over the age of 55, which is a fantastic programme. But I was brought in to run the Golden Memories Reminiscence programme for people living with dementia. So that's what's running alongside that.
Well, we learned a lot there in the film, I think, about extra time. We've got you here because we want to hear more about Golden Memories. But before we move on to that, I know there's someone quite special that you wanted to mention in relation to that extra time film, isn't there?
That's true, yes. In the film, you'll see there were two identical twins, Barbara and Gloria. And very, very sadly, Barbara passed away this week. And so really want to dedicate this film today to her. She was a really special lady. The twins have been coming to Watford Football Club for 65 years. Their father was in charge of the supporters club. They were really key to the trust and also to the club. So yeah, we just want to dedicate it to her.
Yeah. I think a fitting tribute for the new title of this show, Our Family, because everything you just said is pretty much epitomises what we like to think we stand for. People coming to the club for this amount of time and being totally immersed and involved in the club. So
exactly.
well, we send Barbara's and Gloria's family all our best wishes from here too, of course.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. Let's talk about Golden Memories, because I know you're very, very passionate, aren't you, about this project. So do tell us more.
Yeah, so Golden Memories is a reminiscence programme for people living with dementia, so early onset, low level through to moderate dementia, who have got an interest in the history of Watford Football Club. So you don't have to be a massive Watford fan, but have an interest in Watford Football Club in terms of the history. So many people live in Watford their entire lives, and obviously Watford is the hub of the community, the club is. And so, yeah, people are interested in that side of it. So it's the history side, because we're working closely with Watford Museum as well, because they're providing all the memorabilia. And also the University of Hertfordshire are also doing a thesis, their PhD thesis on the programme, to see the connection between sporting memories and dementia and seeing the benefits really. So that's working really well together.
Why is a programme like this so important for the club to run?
Well, it is key, it really is. There are 850,000 people living with dementia in the UK today. There are 1,000 living in Watford. So as a club, I feel that it's so important for us to reach out to these people that are, when you get the diagnosis of dementia, and there are 100 different types of dementia, it is depressing, it is. It leads to depression, and it's so hard for the carers as well, the family members looking after their loved ones. So there is a huge need, there really is. It's rising, sadly, it really is.
How's it all going? I mean, I can tell by your passion, your drive, your enthusiasm, you're very excited about it, but when you sort of reflect on what you've achieved so far, would you say it's been a bit of a success?
It has, above and beyond. It's phenomenal, it really is. I mean, I stood on the pitch, the West Ham pitch, being interviewed by yourself in August, and it was quite nerve-wracking trying to set this up. It really was, trying to get the right people on board. But it has come together, and it's become just this celebration of Watford Football Club, and we're taking everybody on a journey down Yellow Brick Road, which is phenomenal. It really is. The history of the club, obviously everything Graham Taylor stood for, and we are just honoured to have Rita Taylor attend our Tuesday sessions, which is amazing, it really is, and she's become a friend to all of us. And Wednesdays as well, some of the Wednesday sessions she even pops into, and her daughter Karen is also involved when she can. So the other day Karen actually even mentioned saying that this is exactly what Graham Taylor stood for, so his legacy goes on. So she said he'd be sitting here smiling now. So it is incredible. It really is. We're packed every week. We have 10 to 14 guests coming each week with their carers as well, or their family members. Although some people still do drive, with early onset. So we provide parking for them. We also have minibuses that bring people in. So we've got a volunteer, Barry, who brings people in the minibus that travels all around Abbots Langley and Kings Langley. It has a route. And he calls it the disco bus. And yeah, it's amazing. So as soon as they arrive, they're arm in arm, they all walk in through the door, and we've got balloons. Everything's themed, red, yellow and black everywhere. So it's the bunting, the balloons, the tables, the flowers. Everything is providing this kind of inviting space, it's very welcoming, this big family feel, as we say, what Graham Taylor stood for. So
I think that's it though, you don't need to be a football fan to appreciate it, or a Watford fan, do you? Because these are events in their own right, quite spectacular events. What is now a Premier League football club with that view from the sensory room is just brilliant.
It is. Exactly. The room, you walk into the sensory room and everyone is mesmerised. It's breathtaking. You just look out and we're always seeing the guys cutting the grass. So there's so much conversation even just about that. So yeah, it is stunning and you don't even get used to it. You know, even working there, I'm sure you're the same. It is just spectacular. So the view's incredible. The volunteers are phenomenal. I've got 15 volunteers that literally give above and beyond. I've even found out this morning on the phone, one of the volunteers took one of our guests to a football match this weekend. So, I mean, amazing. Everyone just goes above and beyond. And then the carers, we're providing respite and support for them, which has been tricky. We've had carers come in tears, you know, really struggling at home with their husbands who've got sort of more moderate dementia. So being able to link them up with other groups outside of here, and also they're making friendships with the other carers as well. So it's a real sort of community, a real social group. But the actual structure of the sessions are just spectacular because we're getting all these former players coming in each week, like Ian Bolton and obviously Luther Blissett. We've got Steve Palmer coming tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. So it's more and more. Nigel Gibbs has been a big part of it as well. So we have other talks as well, which are really interesting because Tony Marks, who ran the shop in the 80s, we sort of wheel out the sweet car.
No relation. I have to write this up. No relation. He does try and claim that we're related, but we're not.
I was wondering, yeah. So we've got a sweet cart with all his memorabilia, and we always have photos laminated on the table of of the different eras. So everyone sits there with a cup of tea and a biscuit, you know, sort of reminiscing and chatting. But we have a speaker. Like an interview each week, which is brilliant because it's just incredible. So I always feel that with people with dementia, they can be sitting in care homes feeling very isolated and almost forgotten. So we're also bringing people out of a care home and a dementia day centre, Greenbanks, and they are thriving. They literally, the reviews I've had have been phenomenal. They're now actually communicating far more. They're involved in their own activities. They're talking to their families more, because they've got something to talk about. You know, coming into the club is this incredible, impactful experience, and some people are meeting their kind of icons, you know, these absolute legends. Obviously they've aged a bit, they look slightly different to in the photos, but it's absolutely fantastic, it really is.
What sort of challenges does running a programme like this bring? I mean, you've touched on perhaps a couple of them, but what are sort of the wider challenges you face?
Initially it was finding the right people, really it was finding the right people, because you know, I'd go to all these different dementia groups. There's W3RT run St Mary's and Chorleywood, there's a cafe. There's a number of different dementia cafes. I've worked very closely with Heartswise, so I've spent a lot of time networking with the other existing groups. To me, it's really important to work with the other groups and not just be, oh, look at us, we're Watford, but really become part of it. So we're on the Dementia Forum for the Mayor's set up, making Watford a dementia-friendly club. So the challenges was finding the right people, but those people helped me, they really did. So a lot of my two groups are full of people from the other dementia groups, but they just go back and sing our praises, which is incredible, really. They're just saying how amazing it is, and they want it to go on forever, which is which is great, really. It's just a lot of work in the planning.
Well, it's clearly really, really rewarding. I know you've mentioned the disco bus, but are there any other particular personal highlights or particular cases which have really sort of stuck with you? And
what Karen said, Graham's daughter, was amazing. It really was, that this is exactly what Graham would have wanted. That was huge for me. But just seeing them mixing, and the smiles and the laughter, the just warmth, the atmosphere is just, you just want to stay there all day, you really do. You know, people don't want to leave, everyone's just chatting, and the fact that they're now meeting up outside of Golden Memories and making their own friendships is what it's all about. And for myself, just seeing them, reliving their own memories of coming here, looking out on the pitch and remembering I sat there, and that stand was called this and that stand was called that, and looking at programmes. And then we have one gentleman who was just so excited to see, you know, Luther Blissett, and we've got amazing photos. I've just spent a lot of time photographing it because it just captures the mood. You know, it's just amazing to see. It really is.
What's the future hold? Do you think? Obviously, you mentioned a 12-week and 18-week programme. what's the future? Is there a future for Golden Memories?
So Golden Memories is running for 3 years. So we've got the 12 and the 18 week at the moment, which will then feed into a continuation programme in the Sky Lounge, which is going to be called Golden Friends. So now they've made their friendships, then they can still come back and have it kind of similar to the Extra Time structure, a similar sort of social group. But we will have speakers coming in. We will have a table with reminiscence. Because Golden Memories is very sort of multi-sensory, so I like it to be as themed as possible for the eras and as sensory as possible. So even the food, we have the cheese and pineapple hedgehog. So I always, you know, in the 70s and 80s at parties.
That's sold it.
Yeah. And we have, like, when Rita Taylor came in, we had a cream tea, and so it's always trying to use sort of food from the various eras. So I want to continue that kind of theme going on, but it will be more of a social group. But also we've got 2 new programmes in March, so there'll probably be like 15, 16 weeks running, because these 2 we were trying to work out what works best, 18 or 12, but actually at the end of the day no one wants it to stop, so really they want it to go on forever anyway. So and then we will also have in June, for people who haven't got dementia but are an older adult, another group that will be starting, which we may use the media suite for, so that will reach out to a different group of people as well. So yeah, so the programmes will keep running. There'll be 4 each year. Golden Friends, everyone will feed into Golden Friends, and hopefully that will just grow and grow, really.
Just finally then, if anyone's watching this and perhaps they're interested in volunteering or know someone that could really benefit from this programme, who should they get in contact with, or how?
They can just email me, hannah.foster@watfordfc.com. Yeah, drop me a line, drop me an email, I'll email you back. And we need more volunteers because of Golden Friends being set up as well, and new programmes. I have 15 phenomenal volunteers now, but we need more and more. So also, if you know of anyone who might be interested in coming along to the March programmes, please also email me.
And as if by magic, we're joined by a volunteer.
Here he is.
Here he is, one of Hannah's fabulous 15. Geoff Wicken, you're very welcome. Great to see you.
Thanks
for coming in.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us why you're a volunteer for the Trust.
Well, I started volunteering to help out with the 25th anniversary celebrations when the book was being prepared 2 or 3 years ago. I helped out with the research on the historical side of what the Trust was doing, and the proofreading, some of the production processes. I then moved on. I liked participating in the Trust and the involvement that brought. I moved on into helping out more casually at particular events, such as the Stadium Stair Challenge, which I didn't do. I helped mark out the steps with yellow and black stripy tape, and then on the day I handed out bottles of water. So, you know, I know my limits. And since this summer I've been working on both the sessions each week, really helping Hannah out with the content, and that has sometimes involved giving a talk myself, and always sorting out some video clips to play to the guests, because that's part of each session as well, or interviewing the guests who come in to talk to the Golden Memories guests, be they extra players or be they former players, I should say, or other people who've been associated with the club.
So have you been a Watford fan all your life?
Pretty much all my life.
So,
yes.
so
More years than I care to admit.
Just like us all.
Yeah. So what motivated you then to start giving up your time towards this, and what still does motivate? I mean, we've heard about all the brilliant work, but for you personally?
I think for me personally, I've become more and more interested in the history of the club as time has gone by. And by getting involved in Golden Memories, it allows me to share that with other people in a different context, and really in a helpful way, because with this particular group we're trying to help them reminisce about a time in their lives when they were perhaps coming to the stadium regularly and enjoying being Watford fans and the experiences. And if I can draw upon my interest and knowledge of the club's history to help that process, then that seems to be a good place for me, and indeed for them, or particularly for them, really.
You mentioned former players, Hannah. You sort of mentioned some names, earlier on. Tell us a little bit about sort of getting those guys in and what sort of things you talk about during the sessions.
Yes, well, the club has connections with a great many former players. One of the other things that I do is I work with a magazine called the Watford Treasury, and we celebrate the history of the club. So we've also got in touch with a number of players. So the players come in, and the guests, the speakers come in through various different means. A particularly good example, actually, was that last week we were joined by Peter Walker. Now, Peter Walker is not a name that will be known to current fans unless they've done their historical research. He played for Watford in the 1950s and was part of the 1959 to 1960 Division 4 promotion team. Okay. So he's actually quite fondly remembered by some of the guests because they were watching Watford at that time. Some of them had been watching the club since the 1940s. So they were absolutely thrilled to have one of the former players from the 1950s and from the time when the team wore blue shirts. And quite a few of them talk quite a lot about the team having worn blue shirts in the 1950s.
Yeah. It was brilliant for Peter as well. It was incredible because bringing him back into the club was amazing for his family as well, and we took him down to the pitch and took photos as well. So it was really special for the family to bring him back and kind of recognise him as a player and how important he still is to the club.
I'm sure that was a highlight, but are there any other particular highlights for you so far being involved?
It was really nice to talk to Nigel Gibbs. I mean, we had spoken to him for the magazine, but then he was able to bring a whole load of memorabilia and shared all that. It was quite hard to stop him talking and sharing one more piece of memorabilia with the guests because he has such fond memories of his association with the club as a player and then a coach, and he still lives locally. So that was really quite something.
And Tom Woolley as well. Tom Woolley is really special having Tom because he's obviously one of our guests. And Pauline, it's lovely having Pauline in the family. The little granddaughter comes in as well each week, which is really special. So we did a special for him as well. We did like a Welsh special, which Barry, one of our other, Barry, the disco bus Barry, he did it. He did that while you were away that week, and so that was so lovely to kind of really talk about him. And he's captain for he played for Wales, didn't he, as well? Yes. So he had his cap with him. So and he cut up some Welsh cake. I say we make everything sensory as well as the bovril. We haven't mentioned bovril and pies, which it always goes down well with our guests.
We need to know more about bovril and pies. Before we go to bovril and pies, I'm fascinated to know. Tell us more about the memorabilia that Nigel Gibbs brought with him, because I think as supporters, as football supporters we all are, the modern game gets sort of a bit of a bashing. Players don't care anymore and they're just here for different reasons and stuff. But how amazing to hear that a former player has got all this memorability. So tell us what sort of things he had.
Well, the things that he brought along included his original supporters club pass and some match tickets from away games in the 70s when he would go on the coach, through to shirts and programmes, and he still has the list of penalty takers from the semi-final shootout at Birmingham in 1999. There's a picture of him celebrating, bare-chested with the rest of the players, and you can see a little piece of paper sticking out of the waistband of his shorts. And that is the list of penalty takers, because he had it in mind that would be a useful thing to hang on to.
There we are. All those years later, it had its use.
In the middle of a penalty shootout to grab that.
More relief that he didn't have to take one as well.
Well, yes, I think he was next up.
But I imagine it's the memorabilia that really has an impact with this programme, because when you look out the window in the sensory room, the ground looks so different now, I imagine, for a lot of these Watford fans that come along to the sessions.
Exactly.
So it must help really tap in to those golden memories.
Exactly. It is amazing, isn't it? It's kind of, they come in and they are mesmerised, like we've said, and but it's looking back at how it was before, and we've got images. We've tons and tons of laminated images of how it was before, and obviously the footage as well, the film footage. You know, we have tributes as well to Graham Taylor as well. And everyone seems to have some kind of recollection of Graham and meeting him at a certain place, and people just love sharing their kind of memories, really. So there is a lot of time to sit and chat and discuss and reminisce about how it was back then. So taking a journey down the yellow brick road together, really. So I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much from Geoff. I'm in awe of Geoff completely, because obviously his mind is, whoa, he knows everything. He knows everything.
Random things about the club.
It is fascinating. Yeah.
You're amongst friends here. We all have those random things that everybody else thinks are useless, but yeah, we like them, don't we? Yeah. So come on, give us another example. What's still to come in Golden Memories? What's sort of next for you in terms of either next guests or what do you want to sort of tell the group next?
Well, the next guest tomorrow is Steve Palmer. So he will be fascinating to talk to, because he was part of the second Graham Taylor era and those 2 consecutive promotion seasons in the late 1990s. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And he's currently working for Premier League.
Who, of course, fund this programme.
They are funding this programme, yeah, exactly.
So really looking forward to that. Lloyd Doyley is due to come in some week, possibly this week, but before the end of the programme.
Yeah.
Well done for pinning him down.
Well, we're not quite sure that we have.
At some point, Lloyd. Thanks very much. Yeah.
We're hoping, anyway.
Yeah. And just finally then, for you as a volunteer, Hannah touched on it earlier, how important is it that we have this programme, especially now that you've seen just how rewarding it can be?
It is clearly contributing enormously to the well-being of the guests who are coming in every week. And Hannah was talking about that a little earlier on. But it's really been fascinating to see how much they appreciate what Hannah is setting up for them and what we're delivering every week. It was all quite tentative. They didn't at first. They didn't know what they were coming into. But every week they go away with a smile on their faces. They actually go away quite reluctantly.
Yeah,
they'd rather be sticking around, and they'd rather it was lasting longer. And it's also, I think, being a real help to the carers and the family members who are coming along. And some of them will go upstairs and have a cup of coffee while the session is going on, or perhaps they'll go into the town centre and do some shopping, but it's giving them a couple of hours of respite. And as Hannah was saying, it gives the guests something to talk about. So they're very keen to talk to their family members about what went on at Golden Memories this week. And that's really, really a good feeling. It's nice to be contributing to that.
No, it's fantastic work that you're both contributing to the Golden Memories programme, and of course you can find out more information about all the amazing work of the Trust at www.watfordfccsetrust.com.
But for now, we'll have to leave it there with you two. So, Hannah, Geoff, thanks ever so much for coming. We look forward to more tales, I think, of Barry's disco bus and Bovril. Thank you.
Well, let's return to the sensory room now as it approaches its 3rd birthday. And who better to tell us all about the continued success of the room than Disability Access Officer Dave Messenger.
So I'm the Disability Access Officer here at Watford Football Club. So the purpose of the room is to provide a calm and comfortable environment for children on the autism spectrum to watch Premier League football here at Vicarage Road. It was an interesting time because we were the first club to purpose build a sensory room. So we saw that Sunderland had opened a sensory room, but it was a room that was in a corner of another area of the stadium, and we felt that it was something that we could do as well. And we wanted to be, as the club's always had a pioneering family spirit, we wanted to be able to continue that, and putting a sensory room into the stadium felt like a really natural fit for us. The room opened originally in December 2016, so we're just approaching our 3rd anniversary now of the room being open, which is a fantastic achievement for the club. And we've had over 100 families now that have used the room on match days. And most importantly, out of those 100 or so families, we've had 12 families that the children have transitioned into watching matches in the general access areas of the stadium. And that's something they wouldn't have been able to do without the sensory room being here. So once they've attended a couple of games in the sensory room, they've built up their experience and they've built up their, become more comfortable with their surroundings within the stadium, then our ideal is that they move into watching the match from the general access areas of the stadium. Firstly, because it helps us manage the demand in the room, and secondly, because it proves a great story about the sensory room, that it has broken down those barriers that previously stopped a child from attending, and the child being actually able to attend matches in the general areas of the stadium is always our goal. So the room is designed purposely for children with autism in mind, so it's quite spacious. On a match day, the room is set with bean bags and teddies and chairs, so the children come into the room, nothing is set in stone, they can set the room however they like, so it's nice and comfortable for them. They can come in, if they want to put the bean bags up against the windows they can, if they want to move a little bit further back they can, and they can just make themselves nice and comfortable. In the sensory area, we've got a bubble tube, we've got fibre optic carpets, we've got a colour wheel, which all helps to give a lovely sense of calm in the sensory room area. So those features are there. Also within the room we've got a communication board, so children that are non-verbal can also communicate and can also express their feelings and what they want and what they need, and also whether they're enjoying the game or not. And again, the main focus of the room is the football, and we're trying to provide that calm and comfortable environment for the children to watch the match. So in terms of what actually goes on in the room, we do try to keep that sort of thing to a minimum, because we are trying to encourage those children to enjoy the football as best they can. So if the game's going well, then you don't need to worry too much about what the other facilities in the room are. So it's kind of a different situation in that you don't want to pack a sensory room with things to distract the children. You just want to have that respite for them if they need it, but hopefully they're concentrating on the match. So feedback from the families is incredibly positive. Almost 100% of the families that have been through the room have rebooked and come back a second time, which is great. And they've all also given very positive feedback about the room and how it works and how it operates on a match day. I think for families of children with autism, there aren't many places where they can go to spend quality time as a family, and for them to be able to have a place where they can come to watch the football but also to spend great time together is really important for them.
Well, it is a brilliant facility, so if you are interested in finding out more about the sensory room, then please email dave.messenger@watfordfc.com.
But that's it for this month. Our thanks go to Hannah Foster and Geoff Wicken for joining us here earlier.
Thank you for watching as always, and we will see you again next time.